Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tassie with Shaman Memoirs, and this is my podcast series. If you know of anybody or if you yourself are interested in coming onto my podcast and sharing your stories, whether you are a shaman, practicing shaman, you know of a shaman, you may become a shaman, you used to be a shaman. Even if you are not Hmong, okay? If you are interested in coming on, sharing your stories or your experiences, I would love to have you guys on. You want to go ahead and email services@shamanmemoirs.com. Information in the description box below. And for today's episode, though, I'm super excited to introduce to you guys Sandy. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you, Tassie. Hi, guys. My name is Sandy. I do have a TikTok that goes by Shaman Sandy, and I will also be posting on my YouTube as well by Shaman Sandy.
Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. And
Yes.
honestly, sometimes I think about everyone's day and how you have to carve out time to come on. So I really appreciate you making the time and coming.
Yeah.
So and I actually have met you because you came to my grand opening.
Yes.
Sandy came on to my grand opening, and you've also been as a client for me too.
Yes.
So thank you. And I love that you always come in. I know that not everybody is here in Minnesota, so not everybody can come in. But I feel like when you come in versus a virtual session, it's different.
Oh my God, it makes such a huge difference.
Thank you. Okay, maybe it's just me and I'm old school.
No.
But just being able to see me perform live and everything, because I do Shining for a lot of people. I understand everybody, or every shaman actually, they do Shining differently. Some people use flowers, they use tarot cards or even cards and playing cards. I like to make sure that I go to my shrine and I go into the spirit world and really dig around,
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, thank you.
So do you actually remember me from your grand opening?
I do remember you.
No
Because
way.
I had Rocky Lowe. He was my cinematographer for that day.
Yeah.
And so, he did all the filming and everything. And there are definitely a lot of people that I distinctly remember from that day.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I just passed my 1 year when I had my grand opening.
know.
I know. I can't believe, honestly, the year, not going to lie, it feels like it was a really long year.
It definitely does.
It was a really long, because, so much happened, And I have to admit, I actually started to I took 1 day off where I didn't have any clients at all. Because then whenever I try to take a day off, I fill it up with oh, you really need to meet with me? Okay. You need to meet with me? Okay, this day. And I line it, and then I'm filled again, right? So I took 1 evening off. Okay, I still worked my corporate job, and then I had that evening to myself. And I literally was sitting there what am I doing with my life? I was like, I could be working right now.
Oh my goodness. I need those days. I feel like because I don't have an altar right now, it's every day is a fight or flight thing.
Oh.
I know, but it comes with it. It comes with it. Yeah, you really have to filter yourself.
Yes.
So
What do you mean by it comes with it? Because you don't have your altar out?
yeah, so a lot of people, when they have an altar, it's you put your altars on, your guides on the altar. And so they don't bother you so much. But because I don't have an altar,
But you have to.
yeah. But for myself, it's I really have to filter them. And so they will say certain things, certain words to me. And it's okay, no, that's not true. And so it's every single day. It's a constant fight. Yeah. Yeah.
I always tell people,
Yes.
when you're kind of in that holding phase, I like to call it, enjoy your time. It's going to go by
Oh
so
my God.
fast. It literally is. And then all of a sudden you have your shrine up, and then bam, 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 right? So, and the thing is, even though I say that, I remember myself back then. Back then, before I was raising, and I'm 22 years of my life, I didn't know I was going to be a shaman, right? And then literally the 1 month it took for me to finally raise my shrine, I was going crazy. Oh my God, I need to do it now. And I couldn't even take my own advice, So I totally understand that turmoil you go through, but once I finally went into it, I was like, oh my God. And then, so just that 1 day, I was just trying to relax and reset. And I was like, I deserve this. I deserve,
Oh, yeah.
this break, And I was questioning myself. Like, you're wasting your whole life right now. Like,
I love it.
and it's probably my Kwaneng, like, well, what do you think you're doing?
What are you doing
Trying to
right
watch
now?
Netflix, man. But it was definitely one of those things where I have to remind myself.
Yeah.
I need these days off. I need these days to reset, even though I feel like utter pile of dung. Like, I should be doing more with my life, you know, like, but I have to remind myself, I need those days off.
I think shamans also fail to realize, like, when you are constantly working or doing services and such, you are also on autopilot. And so, like, when you come back from that and you take a day off for yourself, it's almost as if, like, something's wrong.
Yes. I felt like,
Yes.
I was like, I should be open right now. I should be taking clients. And I have people messaging me like, can you do an emergency session? And I'm like, my calendar is booked until July.
Yeah.
Here we are at the beginning of June.
So, like, because I don't have an altar, I still do services. So I still do tarot card readings, and I do what they call, what my spirit guides call soul connection readings. And so we kind of just dig deep into it. It's not like how it is when I go into trance.
Yeah.
So I know my spirit guides are like, oh my God, when you start, you're going to be just like Tassie. I'm like, okay, I understand. And that's why now I'm enjoying my time.
Yeah.
But
enjoy this time,
yeah.
guys. Oh, gosh. But no, like, so Sandy, you have come to shake at my shrine.
Yes.
Yes. And I have done services to look into her.
Yes.
And coincidentally, you know, like, I have children, like spiritual children here in this plane of existence that are actually practicing or they're not practicing yet. Yes. And Sandy is actually my daughter in the spirit world.
Yes, I am. I am your eldest daughter.
Yes, with the first wife.
Yes.
And it's funny, a lot of people either forget or they don't know, but I'm actually a man in the spirit world. And that's where a lot of this male energy comes from, but people don't realize that.
Yes.
But yeah, no, like, I remember with Sandy, okay, like, I have this thing, because people always ask me, like, do you go and see your spirit wives? Like, do you go and see them? I try not to, okay? At all costs, I try not to. And it's this weird feeling of utter cringe. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yes.
But yeah, like, so, like, I try not to see them. But I it's funny because I've actually met other holistic practitioners, and they are aware of their spirit spouses, and they see them all the time, right?
Yes.
Like, personally, I don't think it's, okay, I'm sitting here, like, I'm probably biased. And my Kwaneng are like, no, you're not. And I'm like, but what if I am? You know? But personally, I don't like the interference of them. So that's why I don't go and see them unless I have to. Like, unless somebody is part of their world or implicated by them and I need something specifically from them, that is the only time. And other than you, for an actual ceremony, only once have I ever had to go to one of my spirit's wives. That's it.
Yes, I have definitely seen that. I can say that my father is very strict on me, and I get yelled at all the time.
Yeah. Even when I went to go and do services for her, it's literally, it's like, because then when I go, my higher self is there. And he is just like I always warn my students, like, if you ever need help, like, you feel like you're stuck and you don't know what to do, just call on my guides. They will come. Be prepared. You're going to get yelled at, though. Okay. But that is the price that you just pay. Okay.
Yes.
It is a small price for saving you. But literally, you know, like, I get yelled at all the time. And I don't think some shamans have experienced my spirit guides and how they are. I don't know what else
No,
to
I
say.
totally get it. Yeah, mine are the same. Yeah.
But that is exactly, they definitely are a very certain way. Even though here I am very friendly and bubbly, there is a side of me that has this, and I know it comes from my mother's side, where we are like this, but there is this other side that don't mess around. You know, like, so it's and a lot of times that is who you are meeting, you know, like
Yeah.
one of my students, she's actually the first one to ever ask me this question. She was like, is your higher self, like, I see him, he's very good looking, but everyone's good looking. I've never found somebody who wasn't good looking, I will say this, that was of a god. And, but he's very, like, serious, and he also doesn't have time for a lot of things. Like, if it's nonsensical, he doesn't care. Like, I was like, yeah, no, that's him. I was like, yes, you have met him.
Oh my goodness. The first time I met Father, it was just crazy because I was like, I was going through a rough time. And I remember I went in and he was like, what are you even doing? And he was just sitting there like, I should not be here right now. Like, you shouldn't even have been going through this. Like, I was just like, okay, I understand. I'm getting lectured at. But yeah, he was just like, I don't understand what you're doing. I have higher expectations for you. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. But I did take your advice because I am very haunted. And so whenever I get scared, I actually call him down and he always yells at me. He's like, why did you call me down? Like, this is something that you can do by yourself. And I'm just like, I'm your daughter. I'm human. I'm scared. You better protect me.
You know, I'm going to give you more advice.
Yeah.
You really should be learning from your spirit guides and your higher self. You need to tap into that because your higher self, it's so funny because your higher self is very similar where she kind of don't care either.
I know.
Like, I got other things to do.
I've had conversations with her actually very recently. I've had a lot of conversations with her and she's been kind of explaining herself to me, just telling me specifically how she is and how ridiculous she thinks I am on earth here.
We all are, even myself, you guys. This is why I get yelled at all the time. But, you know, I always want to remind you guys, regardless of what you are, right? And all of this is, we are able, due to our spirit guides and for our Kwaneng, their assistance, their grace, and for our higher selves. Like, I still got to work 9 to 5, okay? But I feel like a lot of that is my higher self's personality. He just doesn't care. You know, like, we don't care for the glitz and glamour and having status. That's not important to us. But I feel like it's because work is so important, and that is drilled into my core. Like, we have more important work to do. Like, this is pointless. Like, our human plights and the issues that we have, it's not important to them. They don't care. Like, they're like, we got to save a world. What are you crying about? You know, like, that's literally how they are. So our problems seem very small to them.
Yeah. No, I was talking to my higher self because I was like, you know, like, what's going on? Why am I, you know, living a life like this? And she was basically just like, you know, I have so much more important things to worry about than you right now. Yep. And so she tends to not like to stick around, which is understandable. So she has shown me a lot of glimpses of a lot of things going on in the world. And basically why I am here, really to like bring balance because of my specific job that I do in the spirit world. She reminds me how important it is to do my tasks here on earth. Yeah.
Yep. And it's like, you know, I will say me as a person, I tend to go into autopilot a lot, especially when I oneng or I run into things where I allow my spirit guides to really take over and I expect them to drive and do everything because that is their role and I'm playing my role, right? So I don't really dwell on a lot of, I guess, also human things too. And I do honestly believe that's why a lot of times I've mentioned in other videos in the past, especially, that sometimes I feel like I have this sensitivity chip that's missing, but it's because that's how my higher self is.
No, it's so funny because after I found out that I am your daughter, I was like, I am just like Father because I truly feel the exact same way that I have a sensitivity chip that's just missing. Yeah. Like, people will tell me things and I'm just sitting there like thinking logically.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've always been somebody who thinks very logical. I don't base things off of emotions, But and it's just so weird why I feel this cringe when I think about like your mother's.
That's so funny.
It's this cringy feeling because and I know it's because of the structure, right? And how they have to huku or where they have to respect me, but at the same time it's like I have more important things. Like it's it's so funny because I have like students who are super emotional. You know, like they are very loving. They are very like I'm giving and loving too, but not to this level. Okay.
I love it.
My family.
It's a different kind of love.
Yeah, like I am a tough love kind of person. I've always been a tough love kind of person, and I'm very nonsensical. And so, like especially like my poor staff, they get me. Like I'll just tell them to do something, but then they don't know why I'm telling them to do it.
Yeah.
And then later on, I'll be like, "So did you learn now?" Like they're like, "That's why you had me do this."
You're so funny. Yeah, no, my mother in the spiritual world. I actually made a TikTok on this.
She's very kind.
Yeah, she is so sweet. She's so kind. And she's always telling me she's always protecting me. So I actually have not been able to see her the last few times I've been trying to go and see her because I have this like emotional attachment, like my human self.
Mama, I'm just kidding. Not
It's
kidding.
true. No, I'm not gonna lie that I my relationship with my father in the spiritual world, I literally sit there and I'm just like, this is just business wise, like transaction wise, like that's it. But then with my mother, I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much. Like, thank you so much for being my mom.
I when you like it's very interesting because then with my children and I have not met many of my children here, I will say that, but I had you be raised by the mother side.
Yes, yes, that is right. And that is why I actually know that I'm meant to be your student in this lifetime because they have told me, my spirit guides have told me that because I grew up with my mother, I need to come and learn my father's ways. So I was like, I understand, like I will do that. But it's just crazy. It's crazy to me. Yeah.
But it's hard because even now I can like feel that energy of you need to. There are so many, and okay, this is like the dad coming out. Okay, like seriously,
Y'all,
he
I'm
is
getting
just-
lectured at in the
Yeah,
spiritual
he's
world
saying
and
so
physically.
much stuff right now. Okay, like there's so many. It's basically he considers it baggage. It's baggage that you are
Yes.
carrying that you need to cut off. But
Yes.
again, you guys like. He is very, very strict. Even though I say
Yes.
he is me, but it's not me, and I'm just the idiot human, like literally,
No, I
like. But
understand.
he's very strict in his expectations, and sometimes. But I will say this, just like me in real life, he also upholds the same standards, you know.
Yes.
But you know, I always have people asking me like, I refuse to believe love doesn't exist in the spirit world, right? Love does exist, but it's not important. You know, like I'm not gonna deny that, you know, there isn't love. But it's not as easy as people think it is in the spirit world. Like even for me, even though I know these things, I don't live my life day to day thinking of those things.
Right.
That is just a part of my job as a shaman, and I'm thinking of how do I use my knowledge to help heal clients, right? I don't think of it as, you know, I want to live in this life because I love being born here. I'm really not wanting to go back. And I always crack these jokes, right? Like when I pass on, I'm going to be this ghost and I'm just going to, but then I always see myself getting shackled and brought back, you know, because when you go back into the spirit world, you are just working all the time. It's not about this vacation and, you know, you get to enjoy life like this. It's, I mean, granted, that's just part of life, but there is just so much important work that you have to do. It's not what you think it is, like in the spirit world.
Yeah.
It's
no,
not like that.
I think that is very accurate because even now I tell people it is hard for me to actually just go to my higher self and like try to talk to her or like father because they they're doing so much. Like there's so much that they are doing. They do not have time. Like even when I go in trance and I try to go see myself, like she's so busy and it's like, okay, like this is just not the time. So then, of course we don't get to see each other, but yeah, it is very accurate. But then I have had to like differentiate because like I realized that you're like different. Like you are actually just living yourself in human form, and father is father. Like really had to separate that. And so then I realized, there's not going to be anything there to like really hold me back. So I think there's a lot of like self evaluation and certain things that you really have to consider too.
I'm glad that you really consider that too. Because honestly, if anything, he's gonna be harder on you.
I know.
Yeah,
I know that.
Because here's the kicker, right? Because like with all of my students, I can see their potential and what they're going to be really good at in the future. But when I can see that I know you're capable of and you're not doing it, then we become harder on you, you know? And here's it's really interesting that, you go and you visit your higher self a lot. I never did.
That's so interesting. That's why when I tried to,
not even my heavenly parents. I only go when I'm being summoned.
Oh, wow.
And if I'm being summoned, I don't want to go. I'm like, I'll come back another day. Like, because usually it's not good if you're being summoned, okay? Like, you're just getting lectured.
That's me every time.
Like, but it's kind of like, it's not like here. Like, you have to understand, they have so many children, okay? We are just a piece on the chessboard. They have so many children. They do not coddle children up there. Like, they have love for you, but it's from a distance. And it's not like your parents here on earth where there's only a few of you, you are in a house and they really take care of you. Like in the spirit world, they didn't physically raise you. So it's very separated, and so for me, even my higher self, I don't go see my higher self. It's more if I'm being summoned or if something is happening when I'm on a like if I'm on a ceremony and I'm doing something and something really bad is happening. He just appears and I can always tell when he's coming, but and then I'm like, oh, I'm being saved. but like literally, I don't get yelled at when he comes though, obviously. But he just appears when I need him during my journeys, and that's about it. But I don't really spend time with my heavenly parents. I try to avoid them at all costs. Except for, what's interesting? My heavenly mother. It is very, very seldom. Only once has she ever summoned me.
Wow.
Yep. Other than that, I don't see her. It's not that you don't want to see them.
Right.
It's just if it's not work related, there's no reason for me to go,
I think that's so interesting because I've never actually met her. And I was just thinking about this because I was like, I've met grandfather. I've had to do it the very first time I went to Goat Winning. It was really funny because I really had to like bow down and introduce like,
and that was like also interesting seeing you wanting like that. That was also very interesting. I don't do that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how that works when you go in and then you're like, you find out like how you are. And I think that not going to like see like ancestors now, and going to the gods and visiting the gods the very first time I went to formally see them, it was mind-blowing. Yeah.
No, for me, I just it's only if it's related to my work, then or I'm being summoned or they appear. And I know that my spirit guides are always yelling at me because I try to avoid it all the time. Because if it's not work related, I don't want to hear it. I get it. You're mad. Okay.
Yeah.
But that is the part of me where, it's like I never want to listen to anything. So definitely, I guess like the biggest advice I would give for you is you will grow the most by actually not visiting them a lot. because one thing that's important is you don't want to use them as a crutch.
Right.
You know, like your guides, you have to listen to your guides, and your guides have to learn to grow. And it was really interesting because I was talking to somebody recently where they felt like they were stopped and they didn't know what to do, so they just stopped one-hanging.
Oh.
And I was like, do you need me to come down there and like coach you? Okay, because if you ever come across this in your journey, you cannot always rely on your teacher or an outside force to help you. Like I was just talking on my last podcast, like, you know, as teachers, we do not do guided meditations. When your students are onenging, we don't sit there and guide you. Like, you need to do this now, and don't forget this, and don't forget, like, we expect, like, your oneng to guide you because as a shaman, you have to use so much critical thinking.
Right.
When you oneng, it is just you and your guides, and they have to be the ones to show you what you're supposed to do. But it was really interesting because after I had this conversation, then they realized that the whole time their spirit guides were just watching them and waiting to take action.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, you stopped because you didn't know what to do, but you're
Yeah.
used to always being in control and controlling your guides on what they can and can't do.
Yeah.
So your guides weren't going to move until you ordered them to move, right? So for me, I operate very differently, and I understand not everyone's going to be the same way. I am not here. Just take my body and go.
That's so funny. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can we?
Okay.
But yeah, I was like, because I don't think I've ever told you this, but I didn't shake the very first time that I got Tsining.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did not shake.
Yeah.
And
I
it
want to
took-
hear about your beginning and your experience.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I didn't shake at all. It was like hours. So she did it for a whole
Hours?
hours.
She don't do it for an hour.
She don't do it for an hour straight.
Does she have a gong stand?
She did not. She was sitting there just like, don't do it. And I'm so grateful for her, even to this day.
Yeah.
Because I know she definitely did help me a lot in her spirit guides. She helped bridge everything over for me. And I came to a point where I was like, all right, if you guys are not willing to do it, I'm just not going to do this. I'm not going to take the path. So the third time that I did it, it took like 30 minutes still. So I was sitting there. And then when she like was like hitting the gongs, she was like, okay, I'm about to give up now. Like she was like, okay, maybe this is just not meant to be. Like I'm just going to give up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm telling my guides, like, you guys better do it. I'm not doing a single thing. So I'm sitting there, like, my arms are just like like just sitting here, just resting. And then all of a sudden, it's just like,
Start going.
boom. Yeah. And it was so powerful. And I was like, oh, you guys are making it known now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it was like pretty quick. And honestly, that is what made me a believer. Not seeing ghosts, not hearing voices, seeing things, like knowing things, none of that made me a believer. It was the shake. That's
I
what
think
made
it's
me a
so
believer.
normal because I tell people this when they're afraid to start. I'm like, a lot of these things that you're actually doing is you doing your job. Like you're actually using a bunch of your gifts. Like even first impressions on people, like that is your spirit guides telling you, But then the only difference is when you start, then you can decipher like what gifts you're using, like what spirit guide is trying to tell you this or telling you that. So that's the advice I have given to people in the past because I'm just like, it's not really anything to be afraid of because you're already really doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I would just remember like, and it's so funny that that's what it took for me to actually finally become a believer.
Yeah.
It is the shake, because like I've seen shamans as a child, but as an adult, like maybe in passing, but yeah, like it. So that's really what did it for me.
I have to say, I am like self-diagnosed. Like,
what do you mean?
Like I diagnosed myself with shamanism.
Oh,
Because I was sort of seeing things when
gotcha.
growing up, yeah. And I guess like when I was a toddler, I used to see them very clearly. So I would tell my parents and go into details of what I'm seeing. So they would be really spooked out by that.
Oh.
And they would tell me I would sit in the bathroom and just talk to spirits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing a lot of that, but it really didn't hit me until I got into like 6th grade.
Okay.
And I was having premonitions.
Okay.
I was having a lot of premonitions. And that's when I was like, am I a shaman? Am I a shaman?
And you guys, did you grow up with shamanism?
Yeah,
Okay.
so my grandfather is actually a shaman.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of knew what was going on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so they would just tell me things like, oh yeah, if you're dreaming like this, or as a kid, you're just like eavesdropping. So I'm just like, oh, they're saying like if you dream about flying, like you're a shaman? And I was like, I totally dream about flying. Yeah, so I actually went to my mom's best friend. She's also a shaman.
I was
So,
gonna say, what was your parents' reaction to it? Because some parents are not as open to their own children being a shaman.
I gotta say that I am such a rebellious child and I am such a black sheep. I think so differently from them that they just know they can't stop me. So they have said to me that because I'm such a rebellious child and I don't listen to what they have to say, I kind of just go on my own path. So they just know that they cannot stop me and they're not going to say anything but support me. Whereas my sister, actually, she found out she's supposed to be a shaman and they stopped her immediately.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like our parents, they understand the hardships that come with being a shaman.
Yes.
And they want you to have a steady life before they are like, okay, you have the support now. We don't have to do as much. And I feel like, especially if you're a girl, whereas if you were a boy and let's say you were married, they may support you more. But if you're a boy, you're not married, you're still just a kid, even if you're 30 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I feel like for women, especially, they want to make sure you have a husband, you have a house, your in-laws also are on board. Because even like my best friend who's a shaman, her parents only allowed her to do it because pneumonia toa. Like she literally, her arms were in pain. She couldn't walk. It was so bad for her, like, so that's why they ended up finally agreeing. But if her symptoms were not that bad, I don't know if they would have allowed it either.
Yeah. My parents always said that I was always the child that acted like a man. So actually, I have a name growing up. My parents nicknamed me Old Lady. Bolao is
I was
what
gonna
they
say,
used
what
to
is
call
that
me.
term in
Bolao.
I was like, I don't know what the term bolao old lady is. I was like, Nielo.
No, they called me Old Lady because they said that I was so anything that I felt was injustice, I was always speaking up for it. And it was just all this knowledge that would come up and everything that I would say. So they would say like, oh, she just does not act her age. My dad always said like, if only you were a boy. If only you were a boy, because you know how they want the boys to move, go up in like the hierarchy. And so like that was just something that he's always said to me is like, you're as naughty as a boy, you speak just like a boy and you should have been a boy. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, that's so funny.
Dad, it's your fault.
I know.
Yeah, no, like, so, but your parents are willing to support you though, if you ever did raise. Okay.
I think they realize that I may go crazy if I don't do it because they realize how much rage and anger I can have. And I think that comes with my dragon side for sure. I realize it now, but it does come with a lot of rage and anger. And now that I've actually tapped into my shamanism, it's been easier for them to deal with me because I'm much calmer. I'm a totally different person. Like if you ask my siblings, they would say, oh my God, like what happened to you?
Sandy's totally different now.
I know. They're like, what happened to you? Because like you used to be so like enraged and like always angry. So they were never afraid of me because I was always like holding on to this rage or like, every single day I was always mad about something. I'm like, injustice right there. Like, why would you do that? You have to give me reasoning why. But like now I'm very patient and I observe more and I just try to find the intent in everything. So it's not like, and I think
you become more enlightened.
Yes. Yeah. And it's something that my siblings hate about me too, because they're like, you're too logical now. Like, what's going on? If this person did something to me, like, you're not taking my side. You're sitting here like, oh, well, I don't think their intention was this. I think they had good intentions, but it just turned out to be this way.
Yeah. I definitely noticed that I am short-tempered.
Yes, me too.
And I was like, I'm kind of like, because like, definitely it takes a lot though to get there.
Yeah.
But then, so right now you're kind of like in this limbo right now, just kind of waiting until one day you can raise once your
know.
logistics are all settled.
Yes.
Okay.
I really am. And so I know that like they have been telling me that if I do not want to raise, well, they say it so literal, like, oh, you're lazy. Like you just don't want to do it, you know? But then like truthfully, I'm like, I know my job. I just know that it's so hard as a human being to like try to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, definitely the logistics is what a lot of people struggle with, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just definitely very blessed back then. Yeah, I still am.
That's good,
I am not aware of, I don't know if it's privilege. Sometimes I feel like it's a privilege. But anyways, either way, I am very thankful. But no, you are not the only person who I've come across. A lot of people struggle with the logistics.
I actually realized that I am one of the shamans that have to continue to stay humble. And it's so funny because they have made me live my life in a certain way to see so many situations, so many things. And it has really continued to open my eyes to everything. Yeah. And I know that in the future it will be the same way. But it is so that I can help and do my specific tasks that were given to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's so important as a shaman not to be put on a pedestal and to stay humble always. Like, you know, like 'cause I feel like even though, especially like, I feel like we're very different from like our elders. Whereas for us, we have a career, we have boyfriends or husbands and spouses. You have children and you have friends, and you're trying to balance this whole life, you know. So I feel like Ning it's such an integral part of who we are, but at the same time, like for myself, I'm very big on making sure I have my own identity outside of being a shaman. You know, like being a shaman, it's who I am no matter what. But at the end of the day, I still have a life outside of this. And that's so important to me to stake my claim and have my own separate identity, you know? And
That is
hence,
true.
that's why I don't do it in my own house, you know, like where everybody comes over to my home, then it definitely gives me that peace of mind that I have more control over other aspects of my life, you know?
Yeah, and I love that because, you know, we definitely need it. I know we definitely do.
yeah.
Like even right now, I'm thinking of ways of how I can have my own Zen area in the future because I know that I want my own space, you know? Yeah. And being a shaman, like you do truly help so many people and you have to share your space with them. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so right now, like how are you coping with everything? Like I know that you come to do a shake every now and then.
Yeah.
But like other than that, how else are you coping? Like because I know it spills out in your other parts of your life.
Oh my God,
So
it does. It does so much.
so I understand you're doing readings still for people too.
Yes. So I definitely do readings and I know that does help me. It definitely helps me to continue on my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And it's so funny though because 2 days ago I was telling you I had a dream and Father actually came and was telling me like you cannot refuse. Like you really have to continue doing these tasks and continue doing your journey even if it means like even if it means going in just to talk to you. Because I have like this thing where I'm like, okay, I'm just in limbo right now. So like, can I just like sit back and relax and not do anything, right? But they're like, no, you can't do that. So I've been opening up for ratings and I have been booking with people. And it really is just a everyday fight, really, with my spirit guides.
Now, how do you protect yourself and your space, knowing that you're opening yourself up to ratings? And, you know, like this is genuine curiosity, just because, you know, like back then, this is before I became a shaman. When I used to do ratings, I would get headaches, like really bad headaches. So I always had to take a break. And then ever since then, though, since I've raised, so you know, like so, I just wanted just genuine curiosity. What maybe it's advice for other people too. What do you do to protect yourself, like your own space? Just because when I read people, a lot of times people come in with a lot of crazy things. So yeah, what do you do?
So it's very important for me to have a very bright area because it makes me feel more at ease or more like in a clean space.
Yeah.
Where the energy is a positive energy.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I do have to, of course, tell my guides. And a lot of people don't know this, but like you can actually put like irutaishana and put incense in it. So that's what I do with my spirit guides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you're feeding your spirit guides
yes.
as you're also performing
Yeah,
this. Yeah, that definitely helps too.
Yeah. And I do have to cleanse my area quite often. I do
you use
the
sage?
deja. I do. Yes, I use sage, but I realize sage doesn't always work.
Sage, it's kind of like cheche, you know, like when you're cleansing your home. It only gets rid of lighter things, but not heavier things. So.
Yeah. And, you know, I have this tendency of getting attachments. I really do. And I realize when I get attachments and when they are.
I'm looking at you like, come again? What, right?
Yes. You know, it's so funny because people don't realize it, but when you get attachments, you feel different. You feel really different. And so I actually test it out. I test the waters, which I should not, but I kind of let them stay for a little bit just so I know what kind of entity I'm dealing with, how they are, and how they treat others. And then I cleanse it away. And when I cleanse it away, I just like check with the king scenario. And then I speak directly to it though. Yes. And so like when I ask my guides, okay, well, we're going to cleanse the spirit today then. Like we've had enough of the spirit because they do drain you. And then I'm like, okay, well, how much do they want? And then we'll just go based off of that.
Are you paying them?
I'm just doing like it just depends. Yeah. Yeah.
And it is true. There are some shamans who do pay them.
Yeah, I was so confused. I'm like, huh?
Oh, yeah, like some people will literally take chonda and like kind of like whip you with it, and then they'll go off and burn it too. You know, yeah. Your methods are very different. I don't know, and there's nothing wrong with your methods whatsoever. I want to be clear with that. But we're just we're judging you right now.
I think it's hard because like I don't have someone who can really see it. And so I have to find out for myself. Like I think
But this is how you're learning. This is how you're experiencing it, and this is the process that works for you.
Yes.
Yeah. And because then once you have your shrine, it will be a very different looking process.
Yes, it will be different. And I know like for right now, because I don't have all of my guides, and I know I have certain guides that will come to me after my altar. But those guides are the stronger guides. And the ones that I have now, they are very strong too, but they're not to that extent.
Yeah.
And so that's why I test the waters. I test the waters because I need to know what kind of entity it is and what they do. And so, yeah. And I don't know if I've ever told you, but I do cleanse people's homes too.
Oh, yeah.
I do go around and cleanse people's homes, and I do see certain entities that are there. And sometimes you can identify.
I have a question. Yeah. So, you know, based off of you saying that you do like limit testing to see what kind of entities you come across, is it okay for me to ask you what kind of entities you have come across and what labels you put them on? Because the only thing that I can relate it to, if those who have played the video game Phasmophobia, it's like a bunch of like different entities you have to find out, like you're dealing with the wraith or you're dealing with the a jinn or something like that. But you have to do a bunch of tests to find out what is what. If you see spirit orbs, then you know, okay, these 4 have spirit orbs. You have to find out. So I'm curious, you saying that you are trying to figure out what you are dealing with. What have you come across, and what traits do they have?
Yeah. So I've definitely come across.
What's the worst one too?
What was that?
What's the worst one too?
Oh, I've had the worst one too that I could not get rid of, and I actually had to go Oning to get rid of it. Yeah. So it was really interesting. So I've had the first one that I ever had like really attached to me was this man. He was an older man, and he was just basically like on the roads and stuff. So itu jupli yakeyan josana is what they call it. And so just out on the streets. Yeah, like out on the streets, just like
Riff-raff GJ.
Okay.
It's GJ.
Yeah, just out on the streets, and then like followed me, right? And so sometimes I have to tell my guys to hide themselves, like luting kinya ana is what I always say. Because if they don't, then I know I have this bright light, and so spirits can see and they can try to attach onto me, which they always tend to. But it comes with the job that I carry, so that's why they tend to follow me. So I've come across that, and that was like the very first one that really scared me because he would not leave me alone. And I would see him sitting there like laughing because I was scared. I know, like literally like evil eye laughing, like oh look, like big eyes and just like yeah, like that I was actually scared. And so yeah, so that was the very first one. And then when I was able to cleanse him off, I noticed there were small attachments here and there that I would just say is like and so
Bade.
yeah, bade is like water. Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
like they're just in the waters and they followed you.
Yeah, so like in the water and follow you. So like
Not even.
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it could be like
Bade.
that.
I know, but I had to clarify. There's one on the streets and one next to the ponds.
I know, and even like when I argue with my spouse and we're outside, like I get attachments from there too, and those are y'all those are the ones that are like, oh, like you know, like I want to tend to you, like I want to be yours, like I can take you because like I love you more than your spouse.
Like a lower kind demon or
Yeah.
entity, I guess you'd say.
So what was the story of the craziest attachment you've come across?
Yeah, so the craziest attachment I've ever come across, it was like three black shadows. So three black shadows. And basically, I had a dream after I helped somebody. And I had a dream that there was a man standing in the corner of my bedroom staring at me.
Yeah.
But he was just a black shadow. And so I was like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I woke up and I was freaking out. And my spirit guides kept telling me there's someone in your home.
Oh.
Yeah. They were like, there is someone in your home. Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. But I was like, oh my goodness. So I woke up and I was like, okay, something's wrong. So I told my parents, like, I need to cleanse our home because there's something wrong. I had a bad dream.
Yeah.
And so then I cleansed the home and it was still there. Like I could still feel it. And so I told my dad, like, Dad, I went and helped somebody yesterday and I just don't feel well. Like, can you just like tie a red string on me? So he did that. And even after
Does your
that,
dad also want to?
No,
Okay.
no. But yeah, so then after he did that, I still was not.
Feeling well.
Yeah. And so it makes you feel like you're crazy almost, or like you're going crazy.
Did you have a master at that time?
I did. Yeah.
Did you? I don't know if in that lineage, because usually if my students are going through something, they message me and I go and take care of it.
Yeah.
Did your master do that, or did you go off and do it on your own?
So basically I had to go off and do it on my own
Okay.
because my master lived in California. So it was just very difficult for her
They just
to
text me, man, and then I'm like, "Don't worry, I'm wanting you today. I'll go take care of it."
Oh, I love it. Yeah. No, she was you know, she was like, "Oh, if you need me to orning for you, you would need to send me your clothes." And so so that she can actually put her clothes on the bench and do it that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's probably her process.
Yes. And so because it was just not fast enough and I was kind of like going crazy, right? And they were just bothering me so much. I went over to a sister's house, a shaman sister's house, and I just went straight into it. And I realized that it was three black shadows.
When you say straight into it, what do you mean?
Like,
One thing, and then they take you to go take care of it right away.
yeah. And I was kind of scared because I was like, oh my God, like they're making me go crazy, you know?
You should never. Okay, really quick, you guys. If you ever feel scared, don't do it. Don't be the one to do it. Okay.
I was like, well, actually, because my guides, they would tell me I can do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
they told me I can do it. But then I didn't believe it myself. Because that would have been the first time I actually went to go take care of a spirit, an attachment. Yeah, instead of like cleansing myself like how I usually do.
And I want to clarify because I know this backstory, but others don't.
Yes.
You don't have a shrine up, so in your previous lineage, they allowed you to onning at another student of the same master's.
Yes.
Their shrine.
Yes, that is correct.
And it was so cute, you guys. But her first time coming to my place to shake, you brought like a whole backpack.
I did.
She brought like all of her tools, her cap, and I was like, you don't need any of this. but I didn't know in her previous lineage that's what they did. So she came prepared in case that's what I needed too. But no.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I have to wear formal. So I brought my outfit and everything. But yeah, so I went over to her house and I went to go take care of it. Now, the first two I took care of, they weren't that strong. And so it was just like vanquish, bang, done. But then like the third one, I think he was like a disciple or a son. Well, they told me he was a son of a specific god. And
he was demonic?
Yeah, a lower realm.
Okay.
Like it was a lower realm. And so basically I went to that realm and I could see all my soldiers behind me and all my spirit guides behind me. And when I was there, oh my God, I know my higher self was there with me because I was like, oh, I feel so empowered. I feel so empowered. And so basically when I got there, they pleaded with me. They were like, please, like, don't do anything to him. Because they were saying that he was just young and so he was just being naughty. And so that's why he did that to me. But I was like, that is unacceptable. And I was like, just because you didn't know who I was in the spirit realm and now you do, like now you're pleading with me. But you guys should have watched him. Like you should have watched over him. And now you have to face me. And so basically what I
will say this. No one's ever said that to me. But I will say this too. I don't talk to ghosts often. We just kill. We just attack. We like, because like it's like, I don't know. Yeah,
I think I don't know if it's just my human self, but I negotiate. Yes.
I'm like, this literally my face. Like, ain't nobody got time.
Tassie's like, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Not negotiate with terrorists here. Like, nah.
Yeah, I love that.
But we do things that we know if we have a right to do something. We don't just go out there and you know, like we know not to get in trouble. You know, like, but like very seldom will I ever. Okay, only if they are a very high level demon. Like, okay, like I'm even with like other gods, and I'm like, he is not going to survive if we fight. We need to negotiate.
No, because that's what I was trying to do. I was just trying to kill him. But then I could see that he went into the realm and then they stopped me at the gates because they were like, oh, you can't come here. I was like, that is not acceptable because he came for me and I'm here for him. And I have a right to do that. And they refused. And so that's when I saw his parents actually come. And I could see them as tall human figures. Or just figures. And so they were there and that's when they were pleading with me because I was like, this is not acceptable. And I was just ready to vanquish him.
Yeah.
But they were pleading. And so what I did is I used a meijing or majing.
I was like, what did you just say? Yeah.
Majing. Yes, a majing. And so I actually encaptured him. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
I encaptured him in like a bird cage almost. And then I gave him itu majenga to watch him.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't vanquish him, but if I could have, I would have.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So that was the most strongest attachment that I've had for sure.
Yeah, and it's very seldom, even for me, to come across a very strong demonic entity. And this has only happened for a client that I had where they actually passed away during surgery, and then they were resuscitated. So that is the only time something of that level has ever happened because a part of your jubilee has already gone and they've already taken it at that time. So that is, or else other than that, it's very seldom I ever come across that.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. You know, I think it's so funny because I was like, I know I have an attachment right now.
I mean, I ain't saying nothing.
And I know that he's a very strong attachment. And he has been with me since I was a kid. And I realized I was seeing him often. So that's what really made me like afraid. Because
so I'm not judging. And I'm saying this for my Kuaning's benefit, you know, because I'm asking you questions to learn, okay?
Yes.
Because, you know, like, we all know especially for Neng, everyone has very different methods, you know, in raising students, in their lineage. And I know that, you know, one thing I've always been grateful for is my sihu. She was, you know, like she's considered Neng Chia, but her you know.
Yeah.
And so she raised me to learn the Hmong traditions, you know, which I've always been so thankful for because I would have never learned it anywhere else. Her and her husband, they've taught me so much. And so I've always wondered why okay, because I know you don't have a shrine. So they're kind of telling me all the sorts of things like, well, she didn't really have a proper shrine yet, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Why you still have this attachment?
I think mainly it's because of the shrine, the altar. Actually, when I found out I mean, when I really confirmed that the attachment was with me, with you, my spirit guides were like, well, when I raise an altar, Tassie will take care of it.
Everything getting cut down. Everything getting cut down.
I know. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because I actually was like, well, why can't I just do it? You know, like, why can't I just go in and do it myself? But then, like, because he's been with me for so long, it actually feels like he's part of me. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I'm not actually scared of him, because I know that, like, he's been with me for so long. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, like, you know, like, usually in my lineage, when we go to raise students, we have to do itaning to color.
Yes.
You know, like, you have to get rid of that. You have to lower all this stuff. And it's just like, there is a lot that goes into raising of a student. And, you know, definitely making sure your family's involved so that they know who your sihu is.
Yes.
They understand who their sihu is. And, you know, like, because I feel like, I say this a lot, but it takes a village to raise a shaman.
Yes.
You know, like, as a shaman, you need so much support. You need so much help. You know, even though they tell you a lot of things, right? We still need support, though. We are not on our own. And, you know, like my brother back then, and like, you know, so it's literally like I've always had a lot of support. And I can definitely say I didn't get to where I am on my own.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
for sure.
You know, so it's and a lot of this, it is to make sure that, you know, the student goes well, you know, and, but, you know, like, definitely, I just feel like sometimes, you know, there's just so many different lineages, and you never know which lineage. I was just blessed that my teacher was the first one, you know, like honestly, like that the path opened up like that. But one of the things that I am always so intrigued, I will say I always get really intrigued, and I always tell my students who's had other teachers before, be very thankful for the things that you've learned from your first teacher. You know, like, you would have never gained that knowledge without them.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so grateful for her, even to this day, because she's taught me so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't think I told you this either, but like, when I was starting my shaman journey, I only started because, like, really accepted her. Because I thought I was going to die. Yeah. But she actually, once I and I did have dreams about her too. So I know my spirit guides confirmed that she was to be my master during that time. But after I had that accepted her, that same night, I had a dream of myself riding on a gold dragon. So I knew that was a good sign. So it was definitely a good sign. But I am very thankful for her because without her umbrella, I feel like I would have gone crazy, or like something would have happened where I was just too emotional. I couldn't understand or help myself stabilize. Whereas like when I was with her, I was able to connect with my spirit guides
and finally stabilize.
Yes. And decipher
did you
a
go
lot
out
of
to
things.
California, or did she come out here?
She came out here. Yeah. All of us students, because she actually has a lot of students, we just all pitched in. And then everybody just like kind of scheduled days with her. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. That's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to lower like the heaviness on the financial wise on everyone. Yeah. So that was really
That's
good.
really smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure she probably had a packed schedule though.
Every day.
If I come here, I need to do this and this and this and this. Yeah.
Every single day. She was always helping people. And you know, it got to a point where she got blisters on her butt because she was oninging so much. And so that's why I told you, like, you need days off for yourself and you can't be on autopilot, because just experiencing that, like seeing that, like made me realize and humble myself, because realizing that she's helping so many people. Yeah.
Yeah. Oning is a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so kudos to her. Like, definitely, like, Oning is so much work, especially traveling.
Oh, my goodness.
Traveling. I feel like traveling was what made my year feel so long. It's just a lot of travel.
Yeah. I can't even tell you how many delays she's had. And we were all like angry, you know, but it's the path of the shaman.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So,
wow. But no, like, so what best advice would you have for people? Like, you know, like having these kind of experiences, what is your best advice?
You know, I would feel like learning basics. And I would say that because, you know, there's so much social media going out right now with like how to cleanse yourself, how to cut joss money and do specific things, right? I would learn the basics first and then try to differentiate your voice from your spirit guides. And that's how you really connect with them. Yeah. Because I feel like without the help of my previous master, I wouldn't have been able to decipher my spirit guides between my own thoughts.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Because they were always talking to me. I just could not figure it out.
Yeah.
But it just got stronger once I met you too. I'm not going to lie. And this is how I know that like it was actually time for me to leave my previous master. Because certain signs that my spirit guides would tell me. And when I met you, it was very different because everything was stronger. Like I just got like stronger responses from my spirit guides, and everything was more clear. And it's crazy because some of the guides that I've never actually spoken to or like seen before, they finally came out. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And so, yeah, so I would really just recommend like exploring yourself and trying to find who you are. And self-love is a really big thing. Really huge.
Yeah. And definitely not everyone is going to hear their spirit guides.
Right.
I've met a lot of shamans who they never hear anything, but it's more of a feeling.
Yes.
And they just know. And I always tell people the feeling is the most accurate form of knowing.
You know, I tell people because people do come to me for consultations too. And I tell them like, you know, if your spirit guides are not telling you through your ears or like through your head, most likely it's because they want you to focus on your feeling. Most likely it's that.
Yeah. And building that confidence, definitely.
Yeah. A lot of times too, like people want a certain thing from their spirit guides.
Oh, yeah.
But your spirit guides want you to do something first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always tell people it's especially at the beginning, right? At the beginning, you can't ask your spirit guides, what's the weather like in New York?
Oh no. Not
They
at
don't
all.
know. They're not the spirit guide that can tell the weather. You know, like,
Yes.
So sometimes I always tell people you might be asking them something that they cannot give you the answer to because that's not the kind of guide that does that.
Right.
So it's the same kind of method, and you have to understand. And so it just takes time.
Yeah.
It's like watching grass grow, you guys.
Or a lot of times too, you already know the answer to it, but then you're just asking your guides because you want clarification, and it's just they're not going to tell you because you already know. So you have to search within yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you so much, Sandy, for coming on and hearing your whole journey. Honestly, it's like mind blowing. You know, because I've never met another shaman like you.
Oh,
But with your current experience and predicament and everything like that, it
Yes,
was
of
so
course.
interesting. I feel like I've learned a lot from you.
Oh, you'll learn more for sure. I know that for sure.
All right, thank you guys. Until next time.